It appears I'm going to be wrong about the Eastern Conference Finals. I had Knicks in 7. That still could happen if they pull off something that only 13 teams in NBA history have ever pulled off, which is coming back from a 3-1 deficit in a best-of-7 series. But as of right now, Pacers lead 3-1. They won this game 130-121. And the story of this game, and the story really of these Eastern Conference playoffs, has been my man, Tyrese Haliburton, a guy who was voted, according to a poll in The Athletic, voted by players, a small group of players, but nonetheless, the most overrated player in the NBA. Well, the most overrated player in the NBA just put up this stat line in Game 4, which has never been put up in NBA history. For those that are listening to the podcast, 32 points, 15 assists, 12 rebounds, 4 steals, 0 turnovers. He is the first player, see right down there, in NBA history to record that very stat line. So again, Tyrese literally did something that has never been done before. I almost think he has become underrated to a certain degree because you have folks on, I'm not going to call anybody out because it's been multiple on national television that still are hesitant to give him that superstar title. Now, again, I don't think the title of superstar or greatest I've ever seen or anything that involves anything of that magnitude should be just thrown around flippantly. And superstar does tend to get thrown around more flippantly than it should be. My question is this. If Tyrese Haliburton is not a superstar, define what a superstar is. Because my definition of one, I actually had this conversation about a month ago with my man Mike Guido. Shout out to Mike, co-founder of this network and the host of the Bi-Coastal Baseball podcast, when he was basically like, okay, what is a superstar? And let's list them. And my mindset was, okay, is this a guy that I can build a championship contender around? I know is going to be available. I know is consistent. I know he's going to show up when the lights are the brightest. I do not consider Joel Embiid a superstar. First of all, Joel Embiid's never gone to a conference finals. Tyrese has been to 2 in the last back-to-back seasons. He barely even played in the first one, with the Pacers were at least competitive in a sweep, if that's a thing. But I don't consider Joel Embiid a superstar. We're flirting with, I'm not sure at this point, all-time great, but at this point, I'm not certain Kevin Durant is a superstar. In 2025, can I build a title contender around the strengths of Kevin Durant? I don't think you can. If KD's your number 2, holy crap, here you come, right? There's teams that are looking to potentially acquire Kevin Durant. There's been some Knicks rumors. I don't think they have the assets to get him, but Brunson, KD, whoa, watch out. Tyrese Haliburton is that, and then some. He is a different kind of superstar. It's kind of like what I've said about Steph Curry when there's been this, he's not a real point guard. He doesn't average 8-9 assists like the Magics or the Stocktons of the world. No, but there's a different way to be a point guard because Steph Curry does handle the ball. He just so happens to be the greatest in the history of the world at doing something, shoot the basketball. Tyrese Haliburton is the best. Certainly, if you want to talk just old school, by the book point guards, he's the best in that regard. But I think it's really interesting where the 32 points he scored, he's got a funky looking jumper. He always has, even going back to his college days at Iowa State. I remember his first couple of years in Sacramento. I'm like, who the heck is this kid? He's got potential. Didn't necessarily see this coming, but my goodness. Funky looking jumper, but it's got a good handle, out off the charts basketball IQ, sets up open teammates. And again, a lot of this is because Indiana is so well built around him, because you have, let's not forget Pascal Siakam, who delivered another outstanding performance. Gave you, I think it was 37-39 in game 2, gives you 30. In game 4, Pascal Siakam, there you go, 30 points, 11 of 21 for the field, 3 for 4 from three-point range. You have guys like Obi Toppin and Andrew Nembhard. Miles Turner is arguably the best shot blocker in basketball. You have a high up-tempo team that fits around Tyrese Haliburton, who ironically is not even the highest scorer in his own team. It's Siakam. Haliburton's like an 18.9 assist guy in the regular season, but steps his game up a new level come playoff time. I've called him throughout these playoffs, really starting with that game 2 buzzer beater to beat Cleveland, which I thought the Pacers were going to upset Cleveland from the jump, but that kind of, I think in the minds of a lot of people, sort of kind of sealed it, where I'm like, that's the clutchest player in basketball. Listen, Brunson, to his credit, Jalen Brunson, who's had a rough series as it pertains to clutch time. Brunson played pretty well last night. He gave you, I think, 31 points. 31 points in this matchup. But in the clutch, hasn't been quite what he's been in the regular season or even the previous 2 rounds. Tyrese Haliburton, chance to tie the game or to win the game this season. He's 12 of 14. That's unheard of in the NBA. So I think when you consider that, when he considers off-the-charts basketball IQ, how the team is built around him, again, the definition of a superstar. Are you the best player on the team? Siakam may be their leading scorer. Obviously, Haliburton's their best player. And can those other guys, do those other guys suit the strengths of said superstar player? Yes? Okay. That's a superstar. And the Pacers are one win away from the NBA Finals. And, it's funny. I'm hearing a lot of backlash toward Brunson and Towns. Listen, to me, Brunson, the bulk of any sort of flack he should get from the series if it goes on to end as soon as tomorrow night or on Saturday in Game 6 in Indiana. Any flack Brunson should get if his play continues shouldn't be for his overall performance. Brunson has been good in the series. It's been late in games he hasn't been. He airballed a jumper. I think it was in game 2. I know he missed one badly in game 1. He missed a game winner or a game winner in game 1, game tire in game 2, or maybe they were both game tying shots. Either way, struggles on the clutch. Haliburton has not. And the Towns fit. People have kind of gone back and forth about that. The fact that the Knicks are like minus 24 when Towns and Brunson are on the floor. I get that. I think there's also an element of, hey, I don't think the Knicks' problem is necessarily a talent thing. I think it's a style of play thing. Listen, they wouldn't have gotten the Eastern Conference Finals if they weren't talented. They wouldn't have gotten the Eastern Conference Finals if they didn't have good wing players. This is why we thought they could beat Boston before the season. We didn't think they beat Boston before the series, but they ended up doing it. Is because they have athletic wings like Anunoby and Bridges, who's the defensive sort of mastermind for the Knicks on that end. Towns can give you what he can give you on that end and can give you 25 to 30 on the offensive end, and we know who Brunson is. I think you have to start asking questions about Tibbs. And listen, I'll say this and have this on the record. It's not just in the vein of pick integrity, which I believe to my core. Like, once you make a pick, gosh darn it, you freaking stick with it. You die with it. You give good analysis, but you stick with your pick. That's who you picked. It's not even just for that. I don't think the Knicks are dead necessarily because all 4 games have been down to the wire. Now someone could combat that and say, yeah, but the Pacers have been one of the better clutch teams in these playoffs. Do you think they're just going to blow 3 straight clutch games? Because we could very well see that happening if it were to go the distance to go 7. You think the Pacers are going to blow 3 straight? That's where I have a hard time seeing the Knicks win this series. But because the margins have been so thin, like, it's funny. I can see the Pacers wrapping this up in 5, or I can see the Knicks taking this to a decisive Game 7 next Monday night. Like, it's that tight of a series where it's, man, if Haliburton doesn't make that shot and the Reggie Miller choke sign, all of it at the end of Game 1 in regulation, what does the series look like? We'll never know. But listen, this is, unless the Pacers just collapse, which I think to a degree is, all 3-1 comebacks require a certain level of collapse from the other side. It's just hard to see that from Indiana. I'm not counting the Knicks out because the games have been so close and because the Knicks have been the comeback kids of these playoffs, along with Indiana also as well. I understand all of that, but listen, it's, unless the Pacers collapse, I have a hard time not putting Tyrese Haliburton as a superstar. I just do. I understand the pieces around him work, and Carlisle is a championship coach. I understand all of it, but we never saw this team, or at least most didn't see this as a team that could make the finals. It was like, it's Boston or it's Cleveland. And maybe there were some people in the Knicks corner. That was it. So kudos to the Indiana Pacers, who are going to slay Giannis in the first round, even though they were the better team. Take out the champs in round 2 when the majority of that series, Tatum was healthy, and then 1 win away from taking out the favored Knicks to get to the finals. And I've got to say, I'll transition to Oklahoma City in just a moment. They can give Oklahoma City some problems. OKC would be the better team. I think would clearly be the Vegas favorites. Because of, and OKC is a great half-court defense, but because the Indiana Pacers like to push it, could we see almost like a Dallas Mavericks, ironically with the same coach, Rick Carlisle, could we see a Dallas Mavericks Miami Heat type of situation in 2011? Maybe. It's not off the board. I think anyone that would say the Pacers have no chance to win the finals, should that be the matchup that we indeed get, I don't think they've been paying close enough attention to the Pacers. That is a very for-real basketball team. And shout out to Tyrese Haliburton. That was unbelievable. The guy who has and again, by the way, another definition of a superstar in my mind, you find a way to impact the game even if your shot's not falling. Now, Tyrese's shot was falling last night and has been really all series long. But even if he's like, even the Cleveland game, I'll have to go back and look. How many points did Tyrese score in that game too? I should have prepared for this in advance. How many points did Tyrese score in that game too against Cleveland? Because I remember it being kind of low in the one where he hit the buzzer beater and they made that last minute comeback. Okay, here. Okay, yeah, it was 7 for 11, but he only took 11 shots, right? Like he's not necessarily a volume shooter. Doesn't have to be a volume shooter to make an impact. But there have been games where he hasn't really given you much offensively, Still finds a way to impact the games, get his teammates involved, because that is a high-powered offensive, machine that the Pacers have going right now. So shout out to Tyrese Haliburton, most overrated player in the league. You can make a case at this point might be the most underrated. Might be the other side of the pendulum. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.